Today, we confront a truth many find uncomfortable, yet it is a truth etched into the very fabric of our society. We are talking about the assertion that various societal structures are inherently biased, designed in ways that actively work against Black people. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is a complex and deeply debated topic, rooted in a long and painful history. Our core perspective today is that systemic biases exist within critical institutions. These include law enforcement, education, housing, and finance. These structures often subtly perpetuate systemic inequalities that have profound consequences. The result is a disproportionate and often devastating harm inflicted upon Black individuals and communities. Understanding this design is the first step toward dismantling it. The criminal justice system stands as a primary area of contention when discussing systemic bias. Evidence of this bias is unfortunately abundant and well documented. We see it in racial profiling, where individuals are targeted based on their race rather than their actions. This bias extends to the courtroom, where Black individuals often face harsher sentencing for similar crimes compared to their white counterparts. The disproportionate incarceration rates of Black people are not merely statistics, they represent countless lives and families impacted. The war on drugs serves as a stark example of how policy can be weaponized. It disproportionately targeted Black communities, leading to an explosion in mass incarceration. This campaign, ostensibly about public safety, had devastating social consequences. The impacts are far-reaching and deeply destructive. Families are torn apart, communities are destabilized, and economic progress is severely hindered for generations. This cycle of incarceration perpetuates disadvantage. The education system, often hailed as a pathway to opportunity, also harbors systemic disadvantages. A significant contributing factor is the chronic underfunding of schools in predominantly Black neighborhoods. This disparity in resources creates an uneven playing field from the start. These schools often lack access to quality resources, from up-to-date textbooks to experienced teachers and essential technology. This resource gap directly impacts the quality of education received. Furthermore, implicit biases in teacher expectations can subtly undermine student potential. The consequences of these systemic issues are profound. They lead to lower educational attainment for many Black students. This, in turn, limits opportunities for advancement in higher education and the workforce. Perhaps one of the most alarming manifestations is the school-to-prison pipeline. This refers to disciplinary practices that push students, particularly Black students, out of classrooms and into the juvenile justice system. It exacerbates existing issues, trapping young people in a cycle of disadvantage. Housing and economic disparities are central to understanding the systemic design against Black people. A historical practice known as redlining vividly illustrates this. Redlining denied mortgages and financial services to Black communities, effectively segregating cities and limiting investment. This practice severely limited wealth accumulation for Black families, preventing them from building equity and passing it down through generations. It directly contributed to the creation of segregated neighborhoods, with lasting economic consequences. Even after redlining was outlawed, ongoing issues persist. Discriminatory lending practices continue to disadvantage Black homebuyers and renters. Housing market inequalities mean that properties in Black neighborhoods are often undervalued. These factors perpetuate a cycle of poverty and limited economic mobility. The inability to build generational wealth through home ownership remains a significant barrier. This systemic disadvantage impacts every aspect of life. The healthcare system also reveals significant disparities faced by Black individuals. They often receive lower quality care compared to other groups. This can be due to a variety of factors, including implicit biases from healthcare providers. These biases can lead to misdiagnoses, inadequate treatment, or a lack of trust between patients and providers. Black individuals also experience higher rates of chronic diseases, which are often exacerbated by systemic factors. Several factors are attributed to these disparities. Lack of access to quality care, often due to socioeconomic barriers, plays a major role. Socioeconomic factors, such as poverty and environmental racism, contribute to poor health outcomes. Furthermore, a historical mistrust of the medical establishment, born from past abuses and neglect, impacts engagement with healthcare services. These combined elements create a system where health equity remains elusive. It is crucial to understand the nature of these systemic issues. They are not necessarily the result of individual malice or overt racism in every instance. Instead, they are the cumulative effect of historical and ongoing policies and practices. These policies, often seemingly neutral on the surface, have created and maintained racial inequalities over centuries. They are embedded in the very structures of our society, making them difficult to see and even harder to dismantle. Recognizing this systemic nature is key to addressing it effectively. Addressing these deeply entrenched issues requires comprehensive advocacy for systemic reforms. This includes pushing for significant policy changes across all sectors. We must demand legislation that actively promotes equity and dismantles discriminatory practices. Increased investment in Black communities is also vital. This means directing resources to underfunded schools, supporting Black owned businesses, and improving infrastructure in historically neglected areas. It is about repairing past harms and building future prosperity. Ultimately, the goal is to dismantle the structures that perpetuate disparities. This requires a fundamental reevaluation of how our institutions operate. It demands a commitment to justice and equity for all. The debate continues on the extent and nature of these biases within our systems. However, the lived experiences of Black individuals and communities provide compelling and undeniable evidence. Their stories are not just anecdotes, they are data points in a larger pattern of injustice. These experiences demonstrate that the systems we rely on are not always equitable. They reveal a design that, whether intentional or not, consistently disadvantages Black people. Acknowledging this truth is the first step toward meaningful change.